Unit 2, Building the New Nation. America was now a free nation. The Americans now had a huge continent to explore. They had rebelled in hopes of freedom and liberty, but now had to build a new government. America needed its own culture. Conflicts with slavery pushed abolition movements. Equal rights came with slavery, and women wanted rights too. The states needed their own constitution, and the British commoners left, hurting the new Americans' economy. The Articles of Confederation helped the new country at first. They made strong state governments under a weak federal government. Alexander Hamilton thought that the Articles of Confederation were too weak and wanted them revised. Shays' Rebellion proved that they needed a strong federal government. The Constitutional Convention created the Constitution. The states ratified it, and George Washington became the first president of the United States of America. Later, because of the Whiskey Rebellion, George Washington would have to use military force, showing future presidents how to deal with rebellions. Having control of the people brought about different political parties. The Federalist Party wanted a powerful federal government and an alliance with Britain. The Democratic Republicans were against these things. They wanted an alliance with France. Washington decided to declare that America was going to stay neutral. Because of the French Revolution, Federalists had more arguments. John Adams became the new president. Thomas Jefferson encouraged the Virginia and Kentucky resolutions and beat John Adams in the election of 1800. He had sent the United States Marines to suppress the Barbary pirates, and for $15 million, he bought the Louisiana Territory. John Marshall established judicial review, making all three branches of the government equal. James Madison became president and lifted the Embargo Act, rising tensions between Britain and the U.S. James Madison started the War of 1812 with Canada. The United States Navy did well in the Great Lakes. British soldiers later had come down and burned Washington, D.C., which brought a sense of nationalism to the Americas. James Monroe became the new president, starting the era of good feelings. People started moving west when the economy was hurt because of the Panic of 1819. Later, Henry Clay gave his votes to Adams so he could be the new Secretary of State. This was called the corrupt bargain. Andrew Jackson was voted in office in the next election and brought the spoils system. Martin Van Buren was next. His presidency was short and he did nothing great because of the Panic of 1837. Later, slavery became a large issue because of the demand of cotton. Railroads, factories, and interchangeable parts became important to the American North. Workers' rights and labor unions also rose. The cult of domesticity arose and made women admired after if they stayed in their homes. The railroads and the steamboats dominated the way of transportation. The Erie Canal made New York a crucial part of America. The topic of women's rights was back because of women's education which brought the feminist movement and the support for women's rights. The women were no longer happy with the cult of domesticity. This will eventually lead to the women's suffrage movement, which takes place in the 20th century. Utopian societies offered a perfect society, but often failed because of their community's economy and the suspicion from outsiders. The knowledge and science with nature improved, and writers such as Washington Irving became popular. Transcendentalists became popular in the American culture because they focused on their natural civic virtue that they called the inner life.